Okay, so I am going to show you now how I calculate how much fabric I need for my backing, for my binding, and my batting. When I took my measurements for my top to add my borders, they measured 82 3/4 by 59 3/4. And then I used two borders. Border 1 was a 2.5 inch strip. Border 2 was a 6.5 inch strip. Now, once I add the borders, I take a 1/4 inch off. That's 82.5. And I take a 1/4 inch off the width, which makes it 59.5. So now this is what my top should be after I've added the borders. I put a 2.5 inch border on, which means after I've put a seam on both sides, I lost a 1/4 inch on each side. So I have a 2 inch border. And then a 6.5 inch border with only one seam makes it a 6 1/4. Okay, so now that we have those numbers down, then I need to figure out how big is my quilt. I can go measure it, and I did, but I wanted to make sure that my math worked, right? So I had an 82.5 plus 2 and 2 plus 6 1/4 and 6 1/4. So here's the math. 82.5 plus 4 plus 12.5 is 99. And then a 59.5 plus 4 plus 12.5, right, is 76. So my top should measure 99 by 76. I went in there with my tape measure while it was spread out on the bed. And if you don't have one of these, you should get one. This is a 120-inch flexible tape measure. And I went in on the bed and measured it before I folded it up, and it does measure 99 by 76. Now, interestingly, the pattern says that the twin should be 73 by 96, and somehow I gained 3 inches all the way around. Go figure. Okay, so now I have those numbers, and I am going to use a app called Robert Kaufman's Quilt Calculator. This, you can get it on the Apple Play or Google Play, on your Apple or Google Play stores. And what this quilt calculator will do will help you to figure out how to do a lot of math, right, that's involved in quilting. So I need a 99 by 76 backing, and I'm going to do it in two different calculations because quilting cotton comes in two different calculations, right? You've got a 43-inch wide average. Some are 41, some are 43, some are 42, so you'll have to check. And then a 108-inch, which is what's referred to as a wide backing. Most quilt shops will carry wide back, and it's wonderful if your quilt is appropriately sized. It will save you quite a bit financially. So on average, 43-inch wide fabric is, $11 to $15 a yard, depending upon what you're getting and where you're getting it. And 108-inch wide back is roughly 19 to 21. Now, it sounds like it's more, but when you do your calculations, I'll show you. Okay, so I'm going to figure out batting and backing. I'm going to go with the 43 that shows here, right? It comes up at 43, and I'm going to say my quilt width is 76 and my length is 99, and I want overage of 4 inches all the way around, okay, because that gives you room for your when you're quilting, things shrink, and you guys figured that out already. Okay, and so then I hit calculate, and it tells me that I need 6 yards if I do it width and length. And if I cut my fabric the other way, I would need 7 yards. So, I'm going to go with the 6, and I'm going to say I need 6 yards of 43-inch. Now, if I do the same calculation and I say that I'm going to use 108 wide backing, and I calculate that, now I need 3 yards. Okay, now again, if you calculate that out, 6 yards times, you know, $12 on average, or 3 yards times $19, you can calculate out the difference. So if you can get 108 wide fabric for a backing, sometimes that's great if you can find what you want. Okay, so now I know how much fabric I need and for my backing, but I also need fabric for my binding. Okay, so to figure out my binding, I say that it's a 43-inch wide binding, and I like a 2.5 inch. Now, some people like 2, some people like 2 1/4. There's all kinds, you know, you can do a 3, you can go way up to a 4. I usually do a 2.5 inch. It's just what I'm comfortable with. And so I'm going to say that it is 99 by 76. And I can pick if it's regular binding or bias binding. And I can talk to you guys about what the difference is. But a bias binding would be if you cut your fabric catty corner, crosswise. This is helpful if you're doing some sort of a curve binding, and I can show you what that means later. And so I calculate, and it tells me that I need 5/8 of a yard, and I need 9 strips. I need to cut 9 strips at 2.5 inches. Okay, and so now I know that. And then I need to know what size batting do I need to get. Okay, and so my next step is to go to a standard calculator or a standard chart about quilt size or batting sizes. So most batting comes in a crib size of 45 by 60. Hopefully you can see this. A twin size of 81 by 96, a full of 90 by 108, queen of 120 by 120, or king by 120. So just on average, these are generally what they are, but you can look at the package when you pick it up, just to be sure. But right now I think that I need a full size, a 90 by 108. So I need full. Okay, so this is my shopping list to get what I need to finish this quilt. Now, I actually already have the backing and the binding, so all I really need is the batting. But I wanted to show you, since I was at this point, how do you calculate what you need, so that you know when you go to the store what you need. Sometimes you'll go in, you'll be looking for a fabric that you really like, and when you pull the bolt off of the shelf and you realize you need 6 yards, but there's only 5 on there, you know, on the bolt or something. So it's good to know immediately when you're shopping what it is you're looking for. And you know, this calculator is very handy to have. You can also figure out, I don't use these as often, but you can figure out how many pieces you can get out of a yard of fabric if you need, you know, 2.5 inch squares or whatever. So you can figure out if you have how to do setting triangles. So this calculator is very handy. It saves a lot on math. It does have a standard list of quilt sizes in here, or what your standard mattress size is. And so if you're making, let's say you're making a queen size quilt and your mattress is 60 by 80, and you want at least, you know, 10 inches on each side, or 8 inches on each side of the quilt for a drape, you know, so that it hangs over the mattress, you know, you're going to want like an 80 by 100 or 80 by 90 or something like that, so that you've got enough drape on both sides of the mattress. So okay, there you go. So that's, now I know what I need, and hopefully that that math was helpful for you. All right, have a good night.